Video lecture chapter 2, Radiation Physics, Part 1. Anatomic and molecular structure. Matter. Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. When matter is altered, energy results. Atom is a fundamental unit of matter. All matter is composed of atoms. Anatomic structure. Atom is a central nucleus and orbiting electrons. The identity is determined by the composition of the nucleus and arrangement of orbiting electrons. Nucleus is composed of protons and neutrons. Protons have positive electrical charges, while neutrons carry no electrical charge. Most of the atom is empty space. The number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of an atom determines its mass, number, or atomic weight. The number of protons inside the nucleus equals the number of electrons outside the nucleus and determines the anatomic number. Atoms are arranged in increasing atomic number on the periodic table of elements. Electrons are tiny, negatively charged particles. These have very little mass. Electrons travel around the nucleus in well-defined paths known as orbits or shells. The shell is located closest to the nucleus and has the highest energy level. Electrons are maintained in their orbit by electrostatic force between the positive nucleus and the negative electrons. They are known as binding energy of an electron. Binding energy is determined by the distance between the nucleus and the orbiting electron. The strongest binding energy is found closest to the nucleus in the K shell. It is measured in electron volts or kilo electron volts. Molecular structure. Atoms can combine with each other to form molecules. Molecules are two or more atoms joined by chemical bonds, or the smallest amount of a substance that possesses its characteristic properties. Molecules are formed in two ways. They transfer electrons, or the sharing of electrons between the outermost shells of atoms. Ionization. Normally, most atoms are neutral. Neutral atoms contain an equal number of protons and electrons. An atom with incompletely filled outer shell attempts to capture an electron from an adjacent atom. If the atom gains an electron, it has a negative charge. If the atom loses an electron, it has a positive charge. An atom that gains or loses an electron and becomes electrically unbalanced is called an ion. Ionization is the production of ions, or the process of converting an atom into ions. When an electron is removed from an atom in the ionization process, the ion pair results. The atom becomes a positive ion. The ejected electron becomes a negative ion. Radiation and radioactivity. Radiation is the emission and propagation of energy through space or a substance in the form of waves or particles. Radioactivity is the process by which certain unstable atoms or elements undergo spontaneous distinguishing or decay in an effort to attain a more balanced nuclear state. Radiation is capable of producing ions by removing or adding an electron to an atom. Particulate radiation is tiny particles of matter that possess mass and travel in straight lines at high speeds. Electrons, beta particles, are fast-moving electrons emitted from the nucleus of the radioactive atoms. Cathode rays are streams of high-speed electrons that originate in the X-ray tube. Electrons emitted by the manufactured device. Alpha particles are emitted from the nuclei of the heavy metals. They exist as two proton neutrons without electrons. Protons, accelerated hydrogen nuclei, mass of 1 and charge of +1. Neutrons, accelerated particles, mass of 1 and no electrical charge. Electromagnetic radiation. This is the propagation of wave-like energy without mass through space or matter. They may be artificial or occur naturally. They all have common characteristics. Only high energy radiation are capable of ionization, and they are believed to be more to move through space as both a particle and a wave. Both components must be considered. Particle concept characterizes electromagnetic radiation in terms of discrete bundles of energy called photons or quanta. Photons are bundles of energy with no mass or weight. Photons travel as waves at the speed of light and move through space in a straight line. Wave concept characterizes electromagnetic radiation as waves. Velocity, the speed of wave, wavelength, the distance between the crest of one wave and the crest of the next, and frequency, the number of wavelengths that pass a certain point at a given length of time. X radiation is high energy ionizing electromagnetic radiation. X-rays are weightless bundles of energy without an electrical charge that travel in waves with a specific frequency at the speed of light. X-ray photons interact with materials they penetrate and cause ionization. This concludes our lecture.